The morning sun peeks gently through the small cracks of the wooden window, casting soft golden rays across the humble kitchen. Maria stands by the old stove, her hands moving slowly as she fries a single egg in a dented pan. The sound of sizzling oil mixes with the faint chirping of birds outside. Her eyes, heavy with exhaustion, tell stories of sleepless nights spent worrying about bills and her son's future. Still, a faint smile rests on her lips as she glances at the small lunchbox on the table. Eli, her 8-year-old son, rushes out of the small bedroom, his school uniform slightly wrinkled, his hair messy but his face glowing with innocence. "Good morning, Mama," he says cheerfully, hugging her waist. She places the egg on a plate and hands it to him with a smile that hides the ache in her chest. As he eats, she secretly slips a small piece of bread into his bag, pretending it's a full lunch. Before he leaves, she kneels down, fixing his collar with gentle fingers. "Study hard, my son," she whispers softly. "One day, you'll make our dreams come true." Eli nods, grinning, unaware of the tears forming in her eyes. She watches him walk away down the dusty path, his little figure growing smaller with every step. When he disappears from sight, Maria exhales deeply and wipes her tears with the edge of her apron. Alone in the quiet kitchen, the only sound left is the ticking of the wall clock, counting the moments of her silent sacrifice and unwavering love. The sun rises higher as Maria begins her daily routine. With a basket of clothes balanced on her hip, she walks to the nearby washing area, her slippers worn and her steps heavy. The air smells of detergent and damp fabric. Around her, other women chat and laugh, but Maria stays silent, focused on scrubbing each piece of clothing with care. Her hands are red and cracked, covered in soap bubbles and tiny cuts from days of hard labor. She pauses for a moment, coughing quietly into her sleeve, hiding the pain in her chest that grows a little stronger each day. A gentle breeze moves through the clothesline, making the freshly washed garments dance in the sunlight. Maria watches them flutter, imagining they belong to a better life, one where her son doesn't have to grow up in poverty. She wipes the sweat from her forehead and forces a smile. In her eyes, exhaustion battles hope. After hours of washing, she sits by the corner, counting the few coins she earned for the day. It's barely enough for food, but she separates a small portion and places it carefully inside a rusted tin box labeled Eli's Future. She traces the letters with her fingertips, her heart swelling with both pride and sorrow. As the sun begins to set, Maria gathers her things, her body aching from the long day. She looks toward the direction of Eli's school and whispers, "Just a little longer, my son. Mama's still strong." Then she picks up her basket and walks home slowly, her shadow stretching long behind her in the fading light. Dark clouds roll across the sky as the wind howls through the narrow streets. The small wooden house creaks with every gust, and raindrops begin to tap against the tin roof. Eli hurries home from school, clutching his bag close to his chest as the rain turns heavier, soaking his clothes and shoes. He finally reaches their gate, breathing hard, calling out, "Mama. I'm home." But there's no reply. The only sound is the storm outside. Inside, the dim light flickers. Water drips from the ceiling into a metal bowl. Eli steps inside, leaving wet footprints on the floor. His eyes search the room until they stop. His mother lies motionless beside the stove. The plate of food she was warming has fallen to the floor, rice scattered everywhere. Panic floods his face. "Mama," he cries, dropping his bag and rushing to her side. He shakes her shoulders gently, then harder. "Please wake up, Mama." His voice breaks as tears mix with the rainwater dripping from his hair. He runs out into the storm, barefoot, screaming for help. Neighbors rush out with umbrellas, faces filled with alarm. Someone calls for an ambulance while another tries to comfort Eli, who keeps crying, "She wasn't like this morning, she was fine." The flashing red and blue lights of the ambulance soon paint the wet street, reflecting in puddles like broken stars. As the paramedics lift Maria onto a stretcher, Eli clings to her hand, refusing to let go. The storm rages louder, thunder echoing across the sky, as if nature itself is mourning with the boy. The steady beep of hospital machines fills the quiet room, mixing with the soft hum of fluorescent lights. Maria lies weak on the bed, her face pale, oxygen tubes resting beneath her nose. Her hands look fragile, thin veins visible beneath her skin. Beside her sits Eli, his school uniform still damp from the earlier rain, his eyes swollen from crying. He clutches her hand tightly, as if holding on could somehow keep her alive. "Mama, please don't leave me," he whispers, his voice trembling. Maria slowly opens her eyes, forcing a faint smile. She brushes his cheek with trembling fingers. "Shoo, my son, don't cry," she says softly, her voice barely a whisper. "You're strong. You have to keep studying, promise me that." Eli nods quickly, tears falling onto her hand. "I promise, Mama. I'll study hard. I'll take care of you. I'll make you proud." Her smile deepens for a moment, proud, yet full of sorrow. A soft tear escapes her eye as she looks at him one last time. "Just live a good life, Eli, that's all I ever wanted." Her voice fades with each word. The heart monitor begins to slow, the beeping sound turning uneven. Eli's grip tightens, his sobs growing louder. "No, Mama. Please don't go," he pleads, his cries echoing through the small room. Then the monitor releases a long, flat tone. The nurse gently places a hand on Eli's shoulder, but he doesn't move. He keeps holding his mother's lifeless hand, whispering through his tears, "I love you, Mama, please wake up." The world around him fades, leaving only silence and the sound of a broken heart. The years have passed, but the memory of that night never left Eli's heart. The once small, tearful boy is now a young man standing tall in his graduation gown. The hall is filled with families cheering, clapping, and celebrating their children's success. Eli stands quietly on the stage, clutching his diploma with trembling hands. The bright lights shine down on him, yet his eyes glisten not from pride alone, but from longing. As he steps up to the microphone to deliver his valedictory speech, he takes a deep breath. His voice wavers slightly at first, but he steadies himself. "This day isn't just mine," he says, his eyes scanning the crowd. "It belongs to someone who believed in me even when life was hardest, my mother." The audience grows silent. "She worked day and night so I could go to school. She gave up everything, even her health, to make sure I had a chance." His voice cracks as a single tear slides down his cheek. He looks toward the front row, where a bouquet of white flowers rests on an empty seat, beside a framed photo of Maria smiling brightly. Eli smiles softly through his tears. "Mama, I made it," he whispers. "This is for you." The audience stands, applauding with emotion, but Eli only looks upward. Through the large windows of the hall, a ray of golden sunlight breaks through the clouds, shining directly on him. In that light, he feels her presence, warm, proud, and full of love. And for the first time in years, his tears fall not from pain, but from peace.